Let's start doing a quick prayer. Father Almighty, spiritual friends, another Saturday amongst friends from both plane of existence, with the objective of learn a bit more about Medium's book, guiding us through what we are, how can we get better, and a safe path in our journey. Be with us through this study, giving us the right intuitions, promoting right questions, sharing relevant topics to this matter. Be with us today and always. So be it.
Amen.
Amen.
So we have Charles that's possibly suffering with wind in Portugal right now. So hope everything's okay with him over there. And let me share the screen with you. Oh, I just spoke about him. So you're still there, Charles. Not much wind yet?
It's awful.
No. At least you are safe and sound. That's important. Let me share the book. Let me prepare here. I'm assuming you can see my screen now.
Yes.
Very good. Today we're starting for the point 89. Manifestations of this nature often assume the character of a bona fide persecution. We know of 6 sisters who lived together and who for several years awoke in the morning to find their clothing scattered everywhere, hidden in the ceiling or ripped and cut into pieces in spite of their precautions in keeping them locked up. Often, persons have been lying down, but perfectly awake, and have seen the curtains thrown open, or their covers on pillows violently snatched away, or they have been lifted into the air, and sometimes even thrown out of bed. These events are more frequent than one might think, but most victims keep quiet out of fear of being ridiculed. I think that remains the same today. I think we still have a fair bit amount of phenomena happening, but who wants to publicize on the social media that something weird like that is happening with them or happening at home, right? From time to time, we see something that we cannot explain on social media, but nowadays it's hard to know if it's true or if it's fake. But I don't believe those phenomena disappear completely. Why not? Because what we need to make it happen is still there. What? What are you talking about? I'm talking about mediums. I'm talking about the fluids. I'm talking about the spirits. Those 3 things exist. So what we need, the recipe to make it happen, is still there. So people may have a different interpretations, people may have different perceptions, right? But the phenomena, what we need to create the phenomena is still there. We know that due to these facts, some of these persons have been subjected to medical treatment for deranged individuals as thought as though they were experiencing hallucinations. And as a result, they end up actually losing their minds. Sadly, this is still happening. Still happening. If you're going to speak about something like that with someone that have no idea that's possible, does not have an open mind at least, you may end up being labeled as someone with psychological problems. And depending on where you're going to, you may be invited, friendly, to remain in a clinic for quite some time. How can we prevent that? I don't know. I don't know. The best thing we can do is when something like that comes to our attention, or someone with that come closer to us asking for help, is help them before something comes to, before something is becoming too late. Because sometimes, as Kardec says here, if you are taking drugs for too long, if you are incarcerated for too long, you may lose your mind. And then that becomes irreversible. Medicine cannot comprehend such incidents, since it will only accept material causes, a fact which has led to disastrous errors. I don't remember if I mentioned here before, but the Spirit Center that I used to be part of in Brazil used to go to hospitals, clinics, and we used to be frequently visiting psychiatric spiritist hospital. And one day during that visit was identified one lady that was there, and the reason that she was there is because, and pay attention, she was in a spiritist hospital, but she was admitted to this hospital as someone having psychological issues, and in reality she was only a medium. With the right intervention, she left the institution and she started to act as a medium, because she did not know either from the beginning, and she never returned. So the mediumship that was coming to light to her, in her family, nobody knew, nobody understand. She went to the spiritist clinic attached to the hospital. They were not able to identify either, and she was admitted. Luckily, in one of those visits, the group was able to help her. But how many mediums, let's talk about Europe, how many mediums in Europe, they may be facing this very same situation just now, and they have nowhere to go, they don't know where to ask for help. So it's very natural to try to find a GP, to find a doctor, to see what's wrong with me. And the doctors, they will do what they know how to do. I'm not criticizing them at all. I'm just saying that they only know the material side of things, so they treat as best as they can. But sometimes that's not what the person needs. Medicine cannot comprehend such incidents, since it will only accept material causes. I read it again. A fact which has led to disastrous errors. History will someday comment on certain treatments of the 19th century in the same way it comments nowadays in certain procedures of medieval times. And there is also a thing that common knowledge is not everywhere. Countries like Brazil, the doctors, they are a bit more open to consider something they even don't understand. The other day I was speaking to, I don't remember to whom anymore, but back in Brazil, sometimes when people doctors, people don't understand what's going on, they say, almost like a joke, it's better that you go to Spiritist Center to see what's going on with you. But it's there, and sometimes they really mean when they say that. They meant to send you to someone that may be able to see something that they don't. And that's very interesting. But that is in a particular country. It's not here. I doubt very much that will happen here in the near future. But slowly, the medicine community, the doctors, they are getting information. They are like there's a I believe there's an International Medical Association here as well, Spiritist Medical Association in Europe as well. So slowly things may come to light. Hopefully. We perfectly accept the fact that some of these instances are the work of malice and malevolence. But since it has been sufficiently verified that they are not produced by any human, we must conclude that they are, according to some, the work of the devil, or according to others, the work of spirits. But what spirits? Thinking about other philosophies and even religions that they preach that after death, if you see anything, is the work of the devil or what else. I think that's positive. Why I think that's positive? Because it's already the beginning to understand that it's something else. That when we die, there's something else. Imagine if everybody was 100% sure that after death, there was nothing, nothingness. But when you start to admit that there is something, God, devil, spirits, saint spirit, means that you start to consider a possibility to have something else. So it's not the end. It's something that I may be scared of, something I may not understand, something I don't want to hear about it, but there's something. We used to have a joke back at home that not many people wants to go to the cemetery at midnight. Why not? If there's nothing there. If there's nothing there, why are you scared of? Why you are scared of spirits if the spirits do not exist? And so on. There are things that sometimes we start to ask ourselves why we have fear of something that does not exist. Highly evolved spirits, like serious and responsible human individuals, do not enjoy themselves by causing an uproar. Spirits are exactly like us. We are spirits. We have good, we have bad. We have serious and not so serious spirits, like we have serious and not so serious people. So there's no difference at all. We have often interviewed the spirits involved in this type of phenomenon about the reason for troubling someone's rest, and have found that most of them have only wanted to entertain themselves. They want to have fun. They think it's funny to scare someone. If they do find the means to scare someone, and if they like to do that, they will do as long as it takes. And then for us, a good thing to remember is that we should not be scared. We should not entertain that kind of thing. From time to time, it happens. We should not be scared. If we are scared, or if we give them what they want, they will remain. They do again. It's the spiritual bullying, trying to use today's language. They are frivolous spirits rather than evil, who laugh about the alarm they cause and the futile research their victims undertake in trying to find out the cause of the commotion. They will often attach themselves to individuals and entertain themselves by troubling them everywhere they go. And at other times, they attach themselves to a particular place out of pure caprice, but they sometimes do so out of vengeance, as we will see. In certain cases, however, their intentions are more praiseworthy. They want to call attention to themselves and to establish communications.
Guilherme.
Yes?
Sorry to interrupt. Do you need to be ostensive medium for these spirits to do this, or just sometimes they can just do the noise or intervene if you felt being ostensive medium?
We do not need to be ostensive mediums to see something like that. Let's assume you are living in a 3-story building right now. This is your flat. On your floor, you have maybe 10 apartments, 10 different families living all together. And in your flat, you may not have a medium at all. But perhaps next door, you have someone that is able to donate the fluid they need to do that, right? I'm inclined to say that most of cases, yes, you do have some medium around you, in your family or yourself, but this is not necessarily true if you are not somebody next to you can be able to give fuel to what they need to make those phenomena.
Thank you. Mm-hmm.
They want to call attention to themselves and to establish communications. How many times I said here that most of us, we have a wake-up call. A wake-up call to what we are, mediums. A wake-up call to what we should do, charity. A wake-up call to start to consider other possibilities than just the material things we love. Sometimes those troubles that are coming to us has only one meaning, even if those spirits that are promoting that do not know. Sometimes the spirit wants to have fun with you. That's all he wants. But behind that, there is a higher purpose. If he is able to promote that around you, even if they are not aware of, you will have a massive question mark on your head. Why this is happening to me? And that question mark is what will drive you to do your own research, to ask for help, to try to evaluate why this is happening. And then you may be able to find yourself as a medium or to find yourself in need to promote some changes in your life. Because if something is happening, there's a reason. There's always a reason. Hi, Ursula. Ursula, you're on mute.
I'm sorry, I was later today. Yeah, I must tell and ask you, Guilherme, if it's possible that, but usually coming the spirit home to me. But last week, I told you to Elsa too that it was for first. I usually I do my pray so, and when I sat in my bed so to sleep, so I was completely awake, but I don't know what's happened because for first I heard behind me when I was afraid. I pray. I think I prayed this Jesus pray, and it was like something behind me. So like if you, I don't know in English, but it came, but it's arrepio. I don't know in English what is name, and I heard like my wall is not wood, so it was an apartment here, and then I think it was a stark noise, and they interesting because when I heard that. I said to you, like one, but not bad indeed, because I feel it's not a bad thing, it's not bad. So, man, finish, and I prepared me to sleep, and I saw four spirits, but I saw only this side, this from shoulders. I know immediately there was a military soldier from how I know, but I know it was from Ukrainian and young people, and they was I saw a face, four faces. They were together, so like soldier together, so face I saw, and I knew that they would like pray, and I prayed, but I said to them too, please, friends, my friends, it's not time now. I hope you go now, and because I need to sleep, and they disappear sometime. I must ask you, Guilherme. It was correct what I did. I mean, when I like they said it to me, I knew that they come from Ukraine. They died there. Of course, they was fighting. I think I don't know, and I would like to ask you about them. When a soldier, I don't know because my father were military too. My brother was military too. I don't know why me, my sister, we had connect with military. So because we was children, so with my father with uniform and so. And I must ask you, is it possible? Why they don't come to? Uh, it's not. This is not negative. What I say, please understand it, not negative, but I think there Ukraine they have mediumship, they have mediums there, and why me? I usually we everybody I think used to pray to them at the finish their problems so we do here because we need to in Sweden. Sweden have a risk too. And I don't know. I ask you, is it possible that after they come to us, it's not I know what I saw. I saw not very clear. I saw like one. I have one. I saw not clear, but I saw they were military. Yeah,
Now,
young
let me
people.
try to answer you.
Okay.
The
Thank you.
spirit goes where they pleased. There's no
Yes,
barrier to them. They can go anywhere.
we know. Yes.
So taking that as a principle is possible.
Sorry, principal.
Taking that as a principle,
Ah,
yes, it's possible. They
ah.
can go where they want to go.
Used the best option in the around. No. Sorry.
And
Yes. Do
spirits
you answer?
and the
Ah,
spirits that are in need, they go where they can try to find help. What I recommend to everyone in such a similar situations that make your prayer and ask them to come to a meeting, to one mediumship meeting, because that's where they will find assistance.
No, medium. Yes, I don't. Yes, I thought then that I prayed and I said to them, please don't come because it's not time. It's not here now, and I know I need to sleep.
Yes, we ask our benefactors to guide them to a meeting where they can find proper help. Very good.
Thank
So they want to call attention to themselves and to establish communications, whether to give useful advice to the person whom they are addressing or to make a request for themselves. We have often seen them ask for prayers or the fulfillment of some obligations they were unable to accomplish. Others, for their own peace of mind, want to mend a wrong they had committed while alive. It is usually a mistake to fear their presence, which may be untimely but not dangerous. The desire to be free of them, is understandable, but the way used to do so is usually the opposite of what should be done. Because people want to get rid of them. People want to get rid of the phenomenon. It's disturbing, so they just start to do everything to get them away. And it does not work like that. When dealing with the spirits who are merely entertaining themselves, the more serious they are taken, the more persistent they become. Like ordinary children who bother people even more, the more impatient they become, and who frighten the timid. Spiritual bullying again. On the other hand, if people were simply to laugh at their antics, they would tire of them and leave their victim in peace. We know someone who, instead of being annoyed by them, urged them on, challenging them to do this or that, so that after a few days, they went away. But, as we have said, there are some who act with less frivolous reason. Therefore, it is always best to try to find out what they want. If they ask for something, their visits are sure to cease when they have been satisfied. The best way for obtaining information is to evoke them through a capable writing medium. From their response, one can determine who they are and may act accordingly. If an unhappy spirit is involved, charity requires treating it with the attention it deserves. If it is a deceptive spirit, we might deal with it directly. If it is evil, we must pray to God to enable it to become better. In all cases, however, prayer can only bring good results. Again, prayer can only bring good results. Doesn't matter what kind of spirits we're talking about, a prayer will always be positive to the spirits and to ourselves.
Guilherme, sorry.
Yes?
Here, the device that they give you is to evoke through a responsible medium. But we don't do that anymore. We don't, back then it was quite normal to evoke spirits. Nowadays, if I understand, most of the mediumship is not to evoke spirits. So here I would say that nowadays the best way is just to pray and ask the good spirits to help to take them in a mediumship meeting.
Well, I don't see anything that prevents us today to evoke one spirit, providing we do that with the safety measures.
Mm-hmm.
Because when you evoke one spirit, you will not know if this is the spirit you're talking about or not.
Yeah.
So evoking a spirit is always possible, but needs to be done with certain degree of method to prevent that you're not cheated,
Thank you.
Nowadays, it's possible. The prayer is always welcomed, So we use what we can use, because not everyone will have access to a medium either, right? Not everyone will have access to a serious medium either. There are two different things: have access to a medium and have access to a serious medium. So that's something that we always need to think about it, because there's a lot of people there, we know that they are mediums, but they may not follow what we preach as a safety guidelines. So, hi, Camila.
I have one question about that because actually I have been thinking about that for a long time. When we do the mediumship session, right? If we have some disincarnated family, person of your family that is that was close to us, and we know that this person is not in a good state in the other side, could we is okay, like when we start the meeting, pray if the spiritual friends think that is good and helpful and constructive for everybody, help that person.
I'm going to speak here without knowing the facts, without doing anything specific to you or to what you said. But it's very common that we want to get rid of our problems, right? Again, I'm not talking about you. I'm talking in general. And many people come to the Spirit Center trying to get rid of what is bothering them. Some people come to the Spirit Center and come to us, I want to get rid, or I want this to stop. I want this spirit to go away from me. This is something it happens very often. It does not work like that. If somebody says that it does, there is some misconception about how things work. There is nothing that prevents us to pray to anyone at any time. A prayer can be, in some degree, an evocation, depending on the purpose of our prayer. I personally prefer to believe that the spirits, the benefactors who coordinate the meeting, know better which spirit should come to the meeting. We can always pray for those we love. There is no harm at all. No harm at all. But it's up to them to decide which spirit will come. And if they see a need to bring a spirit to the meeting, that will happen. Perhaps bring that spirit to the meeting that the person who is praying for them is part of, won't be positive. Won't be positive. Won't be positive for the person, won't be positive for the spirit. So he or she will be helped elsewhere. Elsewhere. Sometimes, imagine, let's paint a picture here. We have one medium that has been bothered by some family spirit, and the spirit comes to the meeting, and the degree of emotion, the degree of whatever she may see in front of her or him, may be disastrous, may bring more concerns than anything else, so we don't know. And another thing that you said, I don't think you said like that. You said may not be in a good situation. We don't know. What we want to believe sometimes is not true. Sometimes we think that the person is in a bad place because he was a bad person on life, but then we are ignoring the mercy of God. We are ignoring good spirits trying to help those that are in need. Perhaps he's not. This spirit is not in a bad place, and we think he or she is. There's a lot of unknowns that we assume as a truth that may not be true. Perhaps the person had some trouble. Last week we were talking about the passage, right? The moment of death. Perhaps in the moment of death the person had some issues, but then right away was helped by a mother, by a father, by someone that loves him, or a benefactor. And today sometimes is better than us, and we still think that they are bad. So there are so many possibilities. I cannot give a clear, a white and black answer on something like that, because something like that has some factors, many factors that we cannot.
Can I try to be more specific? I don't know. I'm really sorry, folks, but maybe my use case can also help the others. But I have a grandmother. She had Alzheimer and she had depression. So when she passed away very old, uh, in the COVID times, uh, she was not a bad person, was a normal person. But I I I felt her many times, and I felt that she was stuck with my father. I saw her in the home of my father, right? Few times. I feel now she's better than before, has more conscience, is better, but it's not completely away, right? I don't know. Last week, when we started the medium session, I felt her presence and I listened a voice like saying, but she is my grandchild, right? And then was like she was removed for the spiritual friends, right? Which I felt was her. So that it was I was asking, right? Because I agree. I think if you invoke someone, maybe it can be bad for us or bad for the group. But not to be productive, right? We need to trust, right? Only pray. But then then is that, yeah.
Let's use what you just said. Yes, we may have perceived one spirit that we are familiar with around us in the meeting. It's very natural that someone that we know, someone that loves us, wants to get closer, even if it's for us for help. It's very natural. But if the benefactors gave the opportunity to another spirit to talk, and not to this particular spirit, there's a reason. Which is the reason? I don't know. But I rather trust their judgment because they know better than me. Perhaps having a communication from someone you love, someone you know, someone you miss through you could be an emotional disaster for you. I don't know, I'm just saying. Or could be an emotional disaster for her. You know, I don't know. I really don't know. But I know that I trust benefactors who coordinate our meetings. And if they do coordinate our meetings, I trust their judgment. They know better than me. I may discuss with them, I may argue with them, but I know they know better than me. All right? Good. On the other hand, solemn exorcism formula only provokes them to laugh. They are of no consequence to them. If one can communicate with them, one should distrust the burlesque or scary titles they sometimes give themselves in order to entertain themselves at the gullibility of the audience. I had the opportunity to try to help one person that had been exposed to what we call exorcism. During this exorcism that the person was part of, the person had even some physical interactions that left her with marks, because the person who was conducting the exorcism thought that using material methods would scare the spirit, the evil, away from that person. It means nothing. It means absolutely nothing. Is a spirit there? Is a spirit taking control? So we need to address to the spirit with respect, with love. I would say that is not a single intervention that will do the result we would like to. It will be a series of interventions. But some old methods still exist. I'm talking about 10 years ago when that happened. So it's not too long ago. So things like that may come in our way. We shall return to deal with this subject in more details, as well as the causes that frequently renders prayers useless in this chapter, Haunted Places and Obsessions. Something that will get your attention for is that some prayers, as he says here, can be useless. Even some prayers that we do on our day-to-day can be useless. A friend of mine used to paint a picture for us saying that some prayers we do don't even reach the ceiling. Some prayers we do can reach the skies. Formula prayers doesn't mean anything. Can you do a prayer for me? Yeah, just a minute. I'll get a book and I'll read. Means nothing. Nothing in the sense that will not act as it could be acting in favor of what you want to help or who you want to help. Prayer to be reaching the skies, as my friend used to say, needs to come from your heart. You need to have a true purpose. No formula. Don't need to be a lengthy prayer, because some people believe that doing a 5 minutes prayer is what will make my prayer better. No. I think that to make a prayer stronger, first we need to know what we do on our day-to-day things. Do we deserve good spirits to act in our prayer, in favor of our prayer? Or I do everything wrong in my life, and then I do a prayer. When I do a prayer, I need to be completely disinterested on anything that may come. I want to pray to find another job. I don't think will help. I want to pray because I want to have a better salary. I'm sorry, but I don't think that works. I want to pray to help someone. We're starting now. I do a prayer from the bottom of my heart to help this person. We're talking. I do everything I should do in my life, trying to be a better person every day, and I do a prayer. Because when I do the right decisions in my life, I'm ascertaining that I have good spirits around me. Then when I do a prayer in favor of someone, those spirits will also try to help us. They will try to be our go-between between us and someone that can help that person if they cannot help themselves. So a prayer is a powerful means of helping people. But we need to know how to pray. And I remember that many times spirits come into our meetings and say, I don't know how to pray. And sometimes we teach them, it's very simple. Sometimes some of them, they are coming and they are not illustrated. They don't know, they don't have the culture, at least at that moment, to say nice words or to make a prayer that everybody would be clapping their hands. You don't have to. Father, I'm here. I'm in trouble. Help your son. That's it. That's it. If I have my mind and heart in the right position when I'm doing this prayer, that will go very far. That will go very far. But let's continue with our subject, that's mediumship. We have another 15 minutes to go. Although they are produced by less evolved spirits, these phenomena are quite often caused by spirits of a higher order for the purpose of demonstrating the existence of incorporeal beings and a power superior to that of humans. That is in line with what I was saying, that sometimes a wake-up call. Sometimes the spirit just want to have fun, but behind that, there is something more important, trying to get your attention, trying to get you to embrace what is supposed to be embracing, because that is one of the purpose of your incarnation. But many people are not prepared to. The repercussions that results from them, the very aura they can stir up, call attention to the matter and end up opening the eyes of the most incredulous, who would otherwise think it simpler to regard the phenomena as effects of the imagination. A very convenient explanation that dispenses with searching for others. But when objects are turned over or thrown at people's head, it would take a very complacent imagination not to see that the incidents are real. If something occurs, it is obvious it has cause. Nothing happens from nothing. The inertia does not create anything. So there is something behind creating that. And if a cool and collected observation shows the effect to be independent of any human will or material cause, and that it furthermore shows obvious signs of its own intelligence and free will, its most characteristic trait, people will be forced to attribute it to a concealed intelligence. But who are these mysterious beings? What is what Spiritist studies have revealed in a way that is hard to dispute, thanks to the means such studies have promoted for communicate with them. Yesterday, I had a conversation with a spiritual friend in a meeting. He said something very interesting to me. In this part of the world you are, it's hard to find the spiritists, people to understand the spiritism or even acquainted to the idea of the spiritism. Back home, I mean, in my home country, even those that do not profess what we believe, they know we exist. They know even some of our practices, because it's a kind of common knowledge. Here is not. Here is not. So how to explain things to people that they were not presented the spiritism yet? And he said yesterday as well, after they've been presented properly to the spiritist ideas, if they felt compelled to what we do, chances are they don't leave anymore. The idea remains. The seed has been planted. And I thought that was beautiful. And made me think in a different direction as well. Moreover, Spiritist studies have also taught us how to determine what is real, false, or exaggerated about the phenomena we have not witnessed. When a strange effect occurs, a noise, a movement, or even an apparition, the first thought that should enter our minds is that it is completely natural, because that is the most probable one. We must thus research for its cause with great care and not accept the intervention of spirits unless we do so judiciously. We have to eliminate any other possibility before we consider that comes from the spiritual world. This will enable us to avoid illusion. For example, someone who receives a slap or blow from a cane to the back without being approached by anyone, it has happened, could not doubt the presence of an invisible being. Some mediums, more specifically mediums of physical effects, sometimes they feel even the violence from some spirits. And that is real. We must caution ourselves against reports that can be considered to be more or less exaggerated, and also against our own impressions, so that we do not attribute an unseen origin to everything we find unexplainable. There are many simple unnatural causes that can produce effects that appears quite strange at the first glance. And it would obviously be superstitious to see spirits everywhere, occupied with overturning furniture, breaking windows, and causing all sorts of domestic disturbance that may more reasonably be attributed to our own carelessness. Oh, what a word. Yeah, we need to be conscious that, yes, spirits are real, they are around us, they can, with certain configurations, promote some physical effects, phenomena, but sometimes it's just a natural thing. For example, I live on the last floor of the building. When the temperature changes, what happens to the wood? Sometimes we hear some crackles. Just the temperature. Just the temperature. If I start to have a conversation with that crackle, and they start to answer me, then it's another thing. I hear you, I know you're there. Can you tell me how much is 1 + 1? And if you hear 1, 2 crackle, oh dear, it's better run. But otherwise, could be just the temperature, could be the wind, could be a seagull knocking in my roof. You know what I mean? Could be anything. Could be anything. So we need to be conscious when we decide to credit anything to the spirits. I'm just going to start a bit the subject here. Well, I'll do something now. I'm not going to start here. So then, hi, Camila.
Since you will not have time to start, I would like to make a question. Since you are speaking about the science, the facts, and the phenomena, right? Science is, I remember that it happens with me. I see sometimes it's like it unfox things, like the floor starts to do things like that. I don't know how I explain properly, but it's like things I know. It's like a matrix, right? I have the feeling that I'm in a matrix, like the floor do things like that. Then another day I spoke that for one person, and she said that she has relation with mediumship things. I don't think so. I think it's more optical disturbance. So I would like to take the opportunity to ask if that is some kind of thing.
Okay. First of all, I would recommend you to pay a visit to Specsavers. All right? So then you will eliminate the first possible cause. Your eyesight need a a different approach, right? Another thing, you may have some trouble with your own balance. I don't know the name in English, but some people, they start losing balance because of some physical condition they have, and then they see things a bit blurred, they can see things moving. That could be something physical, you know? To say that this is related to mediumship, I don't know. I'll be a bit more thorough before I say something like that to you. It's possible. I've seen so many strange things that I believe is possible. But before I say it is, I would do a thorough evaluation about all the phenomena, how it happens, when it happens, what happens exactly the same, and what are the environment around me when that happens. You know, I would open a lot of questions before I go and say, yeah, this is mediumship. Because this kind of mediumship would help you doing what? You know?
I don't know. I don't know. That is why I never thought that he is. But for the other side, I have happened with me already, like how I can say, I was walking in the street, and if that was the most strong that I remember. I was in the morning, has nobody, and for one moment I felt that I was in the other side. Has other things like that, like desdobramento, right? Then I felt that I was the other side, and I spoke,
That's
but it's in his
yeah.
way. Then my mentor, I think it's my mentor, right? Yeah, so came in the message in my mind. Uh, what do you think? Why you think it's different of it, right? And much of the feeling was different, right? It was like I was in the same place, but I was not in the same place,
Well,
like a
that is
spirit.
different. That is different
Yeah,
than what you described initially. But even with that second description, I would be careful, you know? And we have to have a sequence of events to know if there is a repetition, if it is happening, there is a purpose. I don't believe something happening without a purpose. I don't believe anything happens just for a chance. So there is a lot of things you need to be asking yourself first before you come to conclusions. Okay? And a mediumship is always there to help others, to promote good. So I would always ask, what good can I do with that? How can I help with that? You know what I mean? If it's something like doesn't help anything, doesn't do anything, I'm already doing my deed, so I don't know. I would be cautious before going further, but I would recommend you to be attentive, to make like even notes. This happened this way. I was in this place. My mind that day was like that. For example, if you are under a massive stress, and this kind of thing happens when you are under a massive stress, well, so that not be spirits at all. That could be something physical. You know, I would be starting to make like a research about what you see, and then only after I would consider that. All right? What time is it? Hi, Osoli.
Because what did we describe in the beginning when I was a long time ago? I didn't know that I was medium. I had always one feeling that I was out of my body a bit, not I saw my body there. No, no. I felt like I was as not right correct in my body. Then I thought explained there in São Paulo. It is very, very common when we if it's very sometimes some kind of develop mediumship, and it was with me, and she told to me in the Spiritus Centrum, and this I think I turned calm when they set me to an Spiritus group in Victoria State.
It is one of the ways. It is
Espírito Santo State. So the first one they disappeared, and it was not good. It was like I was not so when I stood. I was a little bit out of my body.
It is one of the ways that we can get the attention of a person to make the person try to find what is happening and then find that he or she is a medium. So is what I used to say, it is a kind of wake-up call, right? So it is a possibility. And this very common, that I don't know, but we see cases like that, yes. So it is our time, and I'm very happy to pass that to Pablo.
Okay, my friends, so let's close our eyes as we come to the end of this study. And let's just ask our Father to give us solace so that we can find ourselves replenished and ready to face challenges, the everyday ones, the small and the big ones, knowing that we have our Father with us always. So the physical, the mental, and the spiritual to be in good shape so that we can walk always forward with God. So be it.
So be it. Well, thank everyone for your presence and looking forward to seeing you next week.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.